Ladies and gentlemen, federal employees, welcome back to this episode. And today we're going to be talking about the backlog with all the retirement applications that OPM is facing right now and what that means for you, especially if you're thinking about, or maybe you just put it in your application. What does that even mean for you? And if you are new here, my name is Dallin Hawes, a financial planner helping you guys retire comfortable and confident. We help with feds all the time to help them in their specific situation. If you're interested in that, there's a link below to talk. So, again, today we're talking about the backlog that OPM is experiencing right now. Now, the numbers that I'm going to share today are actually from about a month ago, so they probably have changed a little bit, but the principles we're going to talk about today are going to be applicable no matter when you're putting in your application. So here's the deal. You're on the podcast, I'm going to be sharing my screen, but I'm going to walk you through the numbers as best I possibly can so you get the gist. So we're going to dive right in. So what I'm sharing here is a record of how many retirement applications OPM has received and then processed in any given month, as well as their inventory, basically how many applications are actually in process at a single time. So the reason I'm doing this video is because in March of 2022, there is a record high. There's 36,000 applications in process working within OPM to then get, of course, processed, and then people start receiving their retirement money later. So 36,000 people are waiting for a retirement check as of now. So that is a lot of people. That is a lot of people. And just a couple years ago, it was back at 19,000, 20,000, and their goal is to be around 13,000 as an inventory. So right now, they're certainly not there, right? That's a good goal, but certainly not there right now. So as you see, in the last 3 months, 13,000 people ish retired in January 2022, 12,000 in February, and about 10,000 in March. So a lot of people have been hanging it up in the last few months. So what does this mean? Well, right now, the average processing time is between 89 days that it takes for, if you put in your application, to then get it processed and done for, right? Get it through OPM and then start receiving your full retirement checks, right? So what does that mean for you? Is it going to be exactly 80 days or 90 days? Well, no. Some people actually get their checks as early as 6 weeks. Some people it takes much, much longer because there are mistakes or some more information that is needed on their application. So what does that mean for you? What are the things that you can do so that your application goes sails smoothly through OPM? So there's a couple things. First, you want to make sure you fill out your application perfectly, right? No typos, nothing. You want to make sure your name is perfect. Every detail, every decision you make on the application is perfect, okay? If they have to come back and ask clarifying questions like, okay, what did you mean by this? Or I can't read that, whatever it is, then it's going to take longer. Or if you didn't have the right documentation, right? For example, if you were divorced and you didn't have maybe your divorce decree or whatever documentation you need to say, hey, this is what happened for my divorce. If you don't have that with your application, they're going to have to reach out. They're going to have to get more information. It's only going to delay how long your application takes. So, and one question I get all the time is, okay, I understand that generally in the first 3-4 months of the year, OPM is really, really busy. Right? They're really busy processing all the applications that come through. Should I not retire in the beginning of the year because of that? And my answer is, well, you can't. I wouldn't really worry about how long OPM is going to take. Now, obviously, we always it would be quicker, right? But the reason I say I wouldn't worry about it is because you have limited control, right? Like I said, you control how you fill out your application. You control how prepared and all the documents you made sure that was correct on there. But once you do that, well, you got to submit and you got to go enjoy your life. But there's a couple things you could do to be prepared as well. First, you got to have an emergency fund. You got to have cash to fill the gap, right? For example, if let's say OPM takes 6 months or a year, I've heard it take a year plus, right? You've got to have money accessible to fill the gap before your pension's going to start. So whether that's just cash sitting in the bank, whether that is you have enough cash to fill the first couple months and then you could get into your TSP because you're old enough or whatever it is. You got to have a plan to fill the gap just in case it can take a long time, right? Because we never know. Even if you retire in July or whenever it is, it can take a long time. You don't know. So you just have to prepare, and I wouldn't really get caught up with, okay, trying to time it so it goes through a little quicker. It's probably not going to make that big of a difference anyway, and just be prepared in your personal life, in your finances, so no matter how long they take, obviously if it was a couple years, that's a different story, but basically, worst case, you're probably looking at a year, right? For most people, it's a few months, right? It just depends on what happens for you. So again, you don't have to freak out, right? If you just put in your application, right? Don't freak out. Just make sure you have the proper steps yourself, that you are prepared. And like always, if this is valuable for you, consider subscribing and joining this incredible group of federal employees trying to get the most out of their benefits and retire confident. So I hope that was helpful. Have an incredible rest of your day, and we'll talk soon.